London, home of the Queen, high tea, and Buckingham Palace. A palace built on a brothel. New York City, the Big Apple, money capital of the USA, where pigs, yes pigs, once collected all the garbage. And Washington, D.C., the most powerful city in the world, home to Congress, the president, and a place once attacked by killer sharks. It's time to take a sideways step back in time and get to know the weird and wild history of the greatest cities on Earth. Get ready for the stories they won't tell you on the tour bus. We're about to go time traveling. Washington, D.C., the capital of the free world. It began more than 200 years ago as a stinky cow-filled swamp. Today, it's a magnet for political players, 20 million tourists, and an untold number of mosquitoes?
Back when DC was initially founded, there was a very severe mosquito problem.
Abraham Lincoln suffered from malaria, as well as George Washington and Andrew Jackson.
To tackle the killer bugs, city leaders considered drastic measures, such as
Giant bug zappers to be placed around the city.
Or how about
Huge nets around the city, and even attaching some of those nets to the Washington Monument.
today, the Washington Monument is still the most prominent landmark in the city.
Given its size and its shape, people understandably make jokes about its resemblance to a part of the male anatomy.
Personally, I think it looks like a giant pencil.
All right, let's go with pencil. But this mighty obelisk was almost toppled by an earthquake in 2011. And that wasn't the first time something went wrong. Construction began in 1848 and took nearly 40 years to complete.
Mainly because they had to stop for 20 years. They ran out of money, and then the Civil War started.
If you look closely, you can see where the construction stopped.
They used the same quarry they had originally used, but that strain of marble was gone. So they had to go with kind of a different tint to it.
And now that it's finally finished,
Tickets are free. Unless you want to get advance tickets online, then they're $1.50.
and in the shadow of the Washington Monument, there is tons to see and do. Right on the National Mall are the Jefferson, Korean War, Vietnam, World War II, and Lincoln Memorial.
Because I have a dream today.
Only fitting that in the capital of the free world, all of these are free. Thanks, George! Touring DC is like walking through history itself, so you're gonna learn something whether you like it or not. And the capital of U.S. history might just be the U.S. Capitol building.
The Capitol building, I think this signifies America.
The Capitol construction starts in 1793 when George Washington walked down this avenue to lay a cornerstone. It wasn't until about 75 years later that the Capitol Dome was completed in 1865.
See, told you learned something. The Capitol Dome was still under construction during Abraham Lincoln's first inauguration in 1861. Here's a fun fact that you could probably live without.
If you took the Statue of Liberty off of her pedestal and brought her into the Capitol, she'd have 29 feet to spare.
And coming up, flying saucers over the Capitol. How an elegant inaugural ball at the White House turns into an out-of-control Animal House-style rager.
20,000 people showed up and overran the White House.
They broke china, they ruined the rugs, they tracked mud all over the floor.
Oh, and a killer shark invasion.
The summer of 1911, evidently there was an epidemic of sharks. Sharks were jumping onto boats and attempting to drag the fishermen into the water.
All next on Time Travel.